Tithing has nothing to do with giving God money. God doesn't need nothing from you. You couldn't even give God nothing. Everything on the earth already belongs to God. He don't need nothing from us. So when God sets something up, it's not because he needs it. Tithing and offering is God's management training program for mankind. Boy, this is so important. God doesn't need a penny from us. And yet he tells us 10% of everything is mine. We only think of money, and that's our problem. If you get 10 pairs of shoes, one of them ain't yours. If you get 10 dresses, one of them ain't yours. If you bought 10 oranges, one of them is not yours. If you got 24 hours in a day, 2 hours and 40 minutes don't belong to you. I ain't got no time to pray. What are you talking about? You got 2 hours and 40 minutes that don't belong to you. You're a thief every day when you don't use those 2 hours and 40 minutes for God's purposes. You are a thief, a tired thief, sleeping on God's time. You spend 2 hours, 4 hours, 8 hours watching cable television and don't give God his 2 hours and 40 minutes that belong to him. 10%. You can't even manage 2 hours and 40 minutes. You're trying to get money. It ain't money ain't your problem. Management is your problem. God could any time of day command you to give the dress away in your closet. One of them ain't yours. So tithing and offering is not about money. It's about management. Can you consistently, God says, put aside 10% of everything for my purposes? That's tithing. Can you consistently? Now, let me tell you something. Listen to me. 100% of everything belongs to God. What did I say? No. Say it again. What did I say? Okay. So, God blesses you with a paycheck of $1,000. How much of that belongs to God? Okay, you're doing good. You're the smart. Now, how much did God say to put aside for his work? 10%. How many is left? 90%. Which one of those belong to God? Oh, you're getting smart. Okay. All right. So then why would God, if he owns all 1,000, want you to put aside 10% if all of it still belongs to him? Why? Because it's not about the money. It's about your ability to put it aside.
Here's the big challenge of life. You can have more than you've got because you can become more than you are. That's the challenge. And of course, the other side of the coin reads, unless you change how you are, you'll always have what you got. I have found in my experience that income does not far exceed personal development. Now, sometimes income takes a lucky jump, but sure enough, unless you grow out where it is, it'll usually come back where you are. Life has strange ways. If somebody hands you $1 million, best you become a millionaire quickly, so you get to keep the money. Otherwise, sure enough, it'll disappear. Somebody once said, if you took all the money in the world, divided it up equally among everybody, it would soon all be back in the same pockets. Incredible. Success is something you attract, not something you pursue. Success is looking for a good place to stay. So instead of going after it, you work on yourself. Personal development. See, the major question to ask on the job is not what are you getting. The major question to ask on the job is what are you becoming? See, the big question is not what am I getting paid here. The big question is what am I becoming?
God wants a relationship with you. He don't want you to call him every 6 months. He want to hear from you, man. And the cool thing about God is you ain't got to clear it with nobody. You ain't got to see if he available. He open 24/7. Look at me. You got to have God. I'm telling you real. You try this without God, you tripping. You do this without God, you tripping. Life is hard. See, for every time you have a plan, a dream, do you know what happens every time you have one of those? This thing comes along called life. Life has disappointment. It's got peaks and valleys.
We're sailing along fine, then a storm arises, an unexpected challenge. A breakup, a contract we were counting on doesn't go through. It's easy to get discouraged and think it's never going to happen. But God doesn't promise something and then change his mind. What he starts, he finishes. And God wouldn't have allowed that storm if it was going to keep you from your destiny. That loss, that person that walked away, if that was going to stop your purpose, God would have kept it from happening. Storms come to us all. The good news is God is in control of the winds. And all He has to do is shift the winds, and instead of holding you back, they will propel you forward. You may be facing a situation where you don't see how it could work out. Every voice says, there's no way. The obstacles are too big. God is saying, you're still going to get there. When it's all said and done, what God promised will come to pass. You're still going to get well. You're still going to meet the right person. You're still going to accomplish your dreams. Where you are is not an accident. Here's the test. Will you trust Him when you don't see any sign of things improving? This is what the Apostle Paul did. He was a prisoner on a boat headed to Rome. Even though he was found not guilty, he had appealed to Caesar. While they were sailing on this several-month journey, they encountered a huge storm. For 14 days, they didn't see the sun nor the stars. The boat was so beat up, it was taking on water. They were despondent. They had quit eating. All hope of them being saved was gone. But in the middle of the storm, an angel appeared to Paul. Don't be afraid, Paul, for you will surely stand before Caesar. Paul had this promise that he would make it to Rome, but all the circumstances said he would never get there. He could have thought, God, you said I would stand before Caesar, but I'm in a sinking boat in the middle of the ocean, stuck in a hurricane. Here's the key. You can't be moved by what you see. You have to be moved by what you know. Don't let that storm talk you out of what God promised. When it looked impossible, Paul went up to the crew and said, it's going to be all right. The next verse is the key. He said, and I believe it will be just as God said. He could have been depressed like the rest of them. Instead, he was talking about what God promised. He was speaking life in the face of death. What you're saying in the storm will have a great impact on whether you stay there or whether you come out. If you talk defeat, you're going to have defeat. If you think I'll never get out of this trouble, then you never will. In the middle of the storm, you need to declare what God promised you. I am coming out. I am not moved by the waves, the opposition. I know God being for me is more than the world being against me. I will prosper and succeed. Get in agreement with God. You may be in a situation that doesn't look good. It would stop a lot of people, but it can't stop you. Why? You have a purpose. You have an assignment. There's a calling on your life. You're not just filling up space. You're a person of destiny. There's a dream God put in your heart. There's a giant you've been called to defeat. Maybe it's a generational curse, something that's held your family back. The enemy would love to convince you to get discouraged, give up. No, that storm is a sign you are close to your destiny. The enemy would not be sending the winds, the trouble, the sickness if he didn't know your greatest accomplishment, freedom that your family has never seen, is right past that storm. Here's the key. The destiny in you is greater than the storm around you. I will fulfill my destiny. I will set new standards for my family. I will break these cycles of defeat. I will keep my family together. I will take new ground. There's a calling on your life. The enemy knows it. He wouldn't be fighting you if he didn't know you were destined to do great things. See, what God has spoken over you is not just a nice thought. It's a command. Paul, you will stand before Caesar. He didn't say, if the weather holds up, if these people don't get too upset. What God speaks, the only thing that could keep it from happening is if we don't believe.